I was allowed to call her every other day for 15 minutes. So I called her and I said, "How was your day?" And she said, "It was great." And I said, "Really? Great? Why was it so great?" And she said, "Because the Senate torture report was released today and it proved that everything you said was true." And I said, "That is great." And she said, "John McCain stood up on the floor of the Senate and said if it weren't for John Kiriakou, the American people would never have had any idea what the CIA was doing in their name." And so when I got home, God bless him, one of the first calls I received was from John McCain's chief of staff. And he said, "Senator McCain says, welcome home, and he wants to know what he can do to be helpful." And I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Tell him I said thank you." I liked McCain very much from when I was working on Kerry's staff. Kerry was a little jealous of McCain. And McCain would go out of his way to shake my hand and say hi. Kerry said to me one time, "Why don't you two get a room or something?" And I said, "No." I said, we have this connection over torture. I said, McCain takes me seriously and I take him seriously. And so when I spoke to McCain, I said, "These damn Obama people, they confiscated my pension. And I'm going to have to work until the day I die. They drove me into bankruptcy and took my pension." So he came up with this idea. It was a great idea to write an amendment. My attorney wrote this amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act of 2016. And it said that every American convicted of violating the Intelligence Identities Protection Act between October 1st and October 31st, 2012, shall hereby have his pension reinstated. So, of course, I'm the only person in the world that refers to. So he said, "Nobody reads these 1,500-page bills. We're going to slip it in there." And he said, "I'm going to be on the conference committee. We'll get it taken care of." And then he got sick. He got a brain tumor. And he wasn't named to the conference committee. And so they pulled it back out again. And then he died. And so here I am, 10 years later. The only way that this can be made right is with a presidential pardon.